Okay, this is Anthony Priscilla picking up from our short 2-minute break. Continuing our discussion of logarithms, this one says write the expression as a single logarithm. Another way it might say it is to condense the logarithm. When you're condensing the logarithms, you're going to write it as just one logarithm. And there's a plus here in the middle, so that's going to mean that there's not, since there's a plus here rather than a minus, there's not going to be a fraction bar. You just write log base d, and then the number in front is the exponent. So on the z plus 1. So it's going to be z plus 1 squared, and then 3z plus 5. Make sure you don't put a plus or a minus here, okay, in between it. If you're going to put something, it's going to be a multiplication symbol. And this is another multiple choice. And it's not that tricky, this multiple choice. Notice I didn't have one with a plus in the middle. That's unfortunate. But don't worry. We're going to get to some in a moment where you got to be typing in the answers yourself. They're not all multiple choice. This first assignment, they're mainly multiple choice, just to make the first one a little easier. Then the next one, you're going to have to be typing the stuff in. I remember semester the student said, it takes longer to type this stuff in than it does to work the problem. And yeah, that's right. In fact, look at number 14. They're common, but you won't, even 12. Says, okay, write this as the sum. Write the sum as a logarithm of a single number. So we're going to write this as a single logarithm. It's very much like the one we just finished doing. Log base 9. Because there's a plus here, there's no fraction bar. So you're just going to write 8 and 5. What's the operation that's going to go in here? Times. You know the common wrong answer would be log base 9 of 13. It should be log base 9 of 40. You're going to have to use your little subscript button to the left of the screen where the exponent button is in order to type in these bases. On number 13, to write it as a single logarithm, because of this minus here, there's going to be a fraction bar. So we're going to write log base 5. Oh, can y'all tell what that is? That's a z to the 7th. And on the bottom, we have a z plus 9. Notice how those weren't separated. If you want to leave the z plus 9 in parentheses, okay, or if you want to just type it in like that, okay. Number 14 looks very much like some problems we've done. But there's, to separate it, you separate it multiplication and division. So the thing that's difficult here, it's going to take you longer to type it in. You go 2 log base b of x, then a plus because the y is on top. There's not an exponent on the y other than 1. Log base b of y, and then what? A minus 4 log base b of z. See, it takes longer to type it in than to do the problem, doesn't it? Number 15. Notice the a and b are both under a 9th root symbol. So I'm going to write it like this. Oh, and look, it's one of these logarithms where the base isn't specified. It just says log. Do you remember? A while back I said if there's a base, if it says log without a base, what do we assume that base is? A 10. So this is log base 10. And then a 4 log base b of x. 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 4 l And a ninth root is the same as a 1/9 exponent. So I'm just going to put a 1/9 exponent on both A and B, because we know how to handle it if we have a fraction with exponents there. Oh, so how would it expand? It would be a 1/9 log A. Then is it going to be plus or minus? Well, because of that fraction bar, it's going to be minus 1/9 log B. Now that B is not standing for base. Okay? In case you were worried about that. And one more. Oh, at the beginning of this class, you would have been, maybe a little concerned looking at this. But I bet you now you could rattle it off easily. There's one little thing you got to do. Let me write it big. This is log base F of that square root. This little square root symbol that I've circled in red is the same as a red 1/2 exponent. And then B to the 9th over C to the 7th. So, is that anything difficult? How do we expand it? Well, there's going to be how many logarithms? 1, 2, 3. Separate at multiplication and division. How many minus signs are we going to have? Well, we're going to have one minus sign. That C to the 7th in the bottom. So I'm just going to write it out. 1/2 log base F of A plus 9 log base F of B minus 7 log base F of C. Pretty easy to do, but you got to type it in. So that's the more challenging part. Let me see. Do I have some more for us to do here? That's the end of that assignment. And the next assignment, let's look at it. See if it's something we could do. Number 1 here. Yeah, it's something we can do. How would we do this? Well, it's the same thing. Expand the logarithm using the properties. There's going to be 1, 2, 3 logarithms, 1 minus, so it's 2 log base B of x plus or minus plus log base B of y. Now move down to the bottom, that's z to the 8th, so minus 8 log base B of z. Now, the next one has an ln. That might look like an in, but it's an ln. And that's another logarithm. Ln denotes what's called the natural logarithm. And that is log base e. Do you remember that irrational number e that we mentioned the other day? 2.71828. Ooh, 1828. Not that you're going to use that. So just treating the ln as if it were just another log. You go about it the same way. Now when you type this in on My Math Lab, use lowercase l. Okay, but that's an L, not an I. This would be x squared. And the bottom we have x plus 2 squared. Here, the square root of x squared plus 2 you've got to rewrite that square root as a 1/2 exponent. And then you separate. 1, 2, 3. Realize, separate at multiplication and division. You can't separate at addition or subtraction. So there's going to be 3 of these. 2 ln x plus 1/2 ln x squared plus 2 plus 2. Ooh, I messed up, didn't I? This plus here should be a minus. I'm going to mark that out and put a minus. Make sure. See, I made a mistake. The x plus 2 squared is in the bottom. So minus 2 ln x plus 2. Ooh. Did y'all see that? There should be a minus here because the x plus 2 squared is in the bottom. We still have a few minutes. I'll just keep going through this. Number 3. Here it says condense the logarithm. So we're trying to write it as a single logarithm. So we're going backwards from what we were doing over here. And we've already done some of these where you go backwards. You just write log. Is there going to be a fraction bar? And if so, why? Well, because of this minus right there. That red minus, there's going to be a red fraction bar. The 5x plus 3 goes where? On the top or on the bottom? On the top. The x goes on the bottom because of the minus sign. Can't all be that easy. Ooh, move this over. Cutting off a little of the instructions on it. Number 4. Condense it again. Okay, we're writing it as 1 logarithm. Now, this one will be easy. Is there a fraction bar here? Well, no. Okay? There's not a minus sign between those logarithms. We just write log and then a y z to the 14th. Common mistake. Sometimes students will put a plus there. No, no, no. If there were a plus here, it couldn't have been separated, could it? Sort of flying through these. Number 5. Similar to this one, except there's an exponent that's a fraction, but okay, so what? You write ln, again, that's an L, not an I. ln, the exponent is in front of the L. So x to the 1/3 y. Don't put a plus in between them. If you do, when you type it in, my math lab's going to say wrong. Here's another one. Condense the logarithm, write it as just a single logarithm. So you write log base b. Is there a fraction bar after it? Nope. What's going to go here? Well, x, the exponent on x is 3, and then a z, the exponent on it is 8. Don't put a symbol in between there. Certainly don't put a plus. If you were going to put a symbol, it would be times. I don't think my math lab would want you to put that symbol there. If you want to put all of this in parentheses, okay. If you don't, it'll still count it. It's still correct like that. Like right here, you're sort of flying through these. You have about 20 seconds left. You would write ln and then a fraction bar because of that circled minus. On top we put x to the third. On the bottom, y to the sixth. Continuing our 20 seconds. Here, you write ln, and there's a minus there, so there's going to be a, because of this circled minus, it's that red fraction bar, x to the ninth on top, and y to the 1/6 on bottom. There's really two ways you could write that. If you wanted to write it, let's suppose this were a multiple choice question, it might be written like this: x to the ninth, and a 1/6 exponent is the same thing as a sixth root. You're going to have to master this, being able to go from radical to fractional exponent back and forth. On number 9, there's that minus, so it's going to be ln, big fraction bar, and on top, x plus 3 to the 5th, and on the bottom, an x to the 8th. Now, when you're doing your homework on My Math Lab, if you click View an Example, they're going to make it seem longer. They're going to go through the properties and stuff. So you might want to get the hang of this right now. You can sure impress yourself with this. If at the beginning of class I'd told you to write this, or just given this problem, you'd be like, what the heck am I going to do here? So here you write ln, and because of that circled minus, there's a fraction bar. This is really the last one I'm going to do. What are the exponents? Or what's going to go on top and on the bottom? You put an x to the 6th on the top, a y to the 5th on the bottom, and a y to the 5th beside it, and a z squared. I'm hearing the noise in the hall, so I'm in a hurry. We're out of time. Oh, a lot of these logarithms stuff here, but usually students do really well on logarithms. It's not anything hard. Okay, so we'll pick up with this next week. So have a good weekend. Bye-bye.